Well, howdy, boys. Paul here with you today. I figured I'm going to talk about a very important topic. How do you save money as an owner op? You know, you're running 1 or 51 trucks, doesn't matter. How do you save money on some ways? I mean, there's a lot of ways to save money. But how do you save money properly so you don't shoot yourself in the foot? Since it's winter, let's talk about two main things. Batteries and tires. So you could go cheap, you could buy some cheap tires, and then, you know, it's going to cost you. Or you could buy some cheap batteries, and then that's going to cost you. So how do you go about that? How do you actually save? Well, a guy like myself that has multiple units, there's a time and place for everything. And when it comes to saving, you got to be very careful what you're actually saving. And not even in the long run. It could be around the corner. Like, for example, you put on cheap tires. Your truck has a high chance of wiping out in the snow and ice. What'd you save if that happens? You know, you just drove the probability through the roof with putting that Chinese knockoff tire on there for the winter, and your truck wrecks. What'd you actually save? Nothing. You went way beyond zero, so you're well in the negatives. That's what I'm talking about. So when you're saving on tires, you gotta be, one way I save on tires is appropriate for the conditions, appropriate for the weather. So like my soft Michelins, non-lasting Michelins, whatever you want to call them. Michelin's just, those MS2s do not last when it comes to mileage, but they provide the best on-road control, traction, whatever you want to call it. So if I take that tire and put it in dead smack of summer, I just blew money out the door. That's all I did. There's no point in that Michelin in the summer, at least for me, because it gets destroyed. In the winter, it barely lasts half decently, and in the summer, they'll just get destroyed. So what I do is I fork out the money in the winter. All the winters besides this one. This winter we did 50-50, Coopers and Michelins. I don't know if I've mentioned that, but I'll do a video on that. I'll do a video a little bit later so I could underline how long Michelins so far have lasted versus the Coopers. So that's a topic of another time. But in the winter, you know, I fork out the money. There's really no way of actually saving on the product is going with a cheaper product. The only way to save on the product is to get a better deal on the product. That's all it is. I don't want to confuse you guys here. So by putting on cheaper tires in the winter, you're actually costing yourself a lot of money. That's all I'm saying. Your probability is going through the roof. You lose 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 trucks, you're done. You just shot yourself in the foot so hard it's going to bleed for long and hurt for quite a while. So that's all I'm trying to underline here. Be very wise, you know. Well, gee, Paul, you're so smart. What do you do in the summer? What do you look for in the summer? In the summertime, I look for those tires that are plasticky, because once he heads down that road, that tire is going to get very nice and soft, and you know what I mean. You don't need to combat with snow and ice. In the summer, you just need to combat with heat. So as long as it's in good shape and it's not old rubber, it should do just fine. Chinese, Mexican, Taiwan, any of those tires would work. As long as they're in good condition as far as, you know, structurally sound, they're not ripped or cracked. The PSI is right, you're not overloading them, you're good to go. Any tire flies. At that point, you wouldn't want to put the premium Michelin tire that doesn't last. You know, it's pretty dumb. Next thing, I think that's the short gist of it. Shop around on prices. That's the only thing you can do on the tires, and then obviously the appropriate tire for the season, because all seasons are just a label, and they don't really, in a lot of cases, don't apply all seasons. Because, and I'm stuck on this tire topic. Like if you take I think LTX2, it's a Michelin tire. It's an all season or all terrain AT. And you take a MS2, which is a Michelin 2. Both of them are all-terrains, but one's more inclined to summer and the other one's more inclined to winter, because those LTX2s just don't do that great in really cold weather, and those MS2s don't do really good in hot weather. So it's just, you put one and one together and use them. Anyways, next topic is the tires. Excuse me. Batteries. I just finished the topic of tires. So on the batteries, you know, a lot of guys will go out there and buy cheaper batteries and they think they're saving money. In some cases, you got to consider your options. You got to understand what you're dealing with. I've done a lot of trial and error. I've tested a lot of different batteries and different brands. I went with the local manufacturing company. They're really good. They're really good batteries. but they're not like a Walmart brand or anything like that, or Costco stuff. So this local company, they have all kinds of batteries, A, B, C, D, and E, and then you got even an F and a G kind of deal. They got all kinds of options for you. Typically what Paul does is goes out and buys the best battery, because technically it should last the longest, right? Well, going into the winter, I make sure all my trucks have good batteries, and if the truck doesn't have good batteries, you make sure it does, because you're going to be paying, on average $150, $200 for a tow truck to come out there and jumpstart your truck. I mean, that's the bills I've been seeing here and there when guys forget something on inside the truck and they kill their batteries. That's if they can't find another truck nearby to jump off. But anyways, y'all understand how that works, and I'm not going to go into details explaining how to jumpstart a truck. But the point is, there's time I buy the least expensive battery as well, because I know this company. I know exactly how their program works. I think they're called Ecos or Blems or something like that. So pretty much a battery. There's pretty much 2 batteries that come into this category. So it's all under warranty. It's a warrantied out battery. A Blem is like it sounds, a battery with a blemish. It's all appearance, and clearly it gets tested and put back on a shelf for Blems, and it gets sold for a fraction of the cost. Now, they're load tested and everything. They're good batteries, but they just don't look that good, if you know what I mean. They're not all deformed like crazy, or not bloated or anything like that, but they have blemishes. And you could buy those batteries at a fraction of the cost. Or, under the same category, same shelf, or what you want to call it, you could buy an Eco. They call it Eco Blems. I don't know why they use both terms, but Eco battery stands for economy, I'm guessing. Same thing, warranty claim, and people just had to return it, and being a decent company that they are, they just, if the date's there and paperwork-wise all that stacks up, they'll refund you and no questions asked. And then when the time comes, they have a little bit of downtime. They go through all these batteries. Some of them go hit the trash, and some of them don't. Some of them get, all of them get charged, and they all get load tested and inspected and everything. But a good portion of those batteries make it right back on that Eco shelf. What I found is a good battery on a hard-working truck will last you, on a truck with decent electronics, meaning the electronic system is fine, electrical system, they'll last you about 3 years. That's what you should expect out of a good set of batteries. Well, these Ecos or these Blems or whatever you want to call them, they seem to last 30% less. So we're seeing them go every couple years. Depending on the time of year and the situation that I'm at, sometimes, or most of the time, I buy the most expensive batteries. But when the cash flow is down, you go out and you buy those cheaper batteries. And the crappy thing is, a lot of times they're sold out of them. Like, people just come by and clean off the shelves because, at a fraction, I think it's about 30% cost of a new one, the Blem battery. So, and you're losing about 30% of the life out of it. So technically you're saving about 33, like if you want to break it all. You're saving about 33% of what you paid for to what you're getting. If my math is not right. If my math is correct. So Blems, 2 years, 3. Okay, that sounds about right. So if you gotta, if you're having an issue with that, but also, like, if you're low on cash, that's the way you would do it. That's the way I advise you to do it. But then, if you go in and you put in a bad battery, let's just go say you bought the cheapest battery, sorry Walmart, but let's pick on Walmart. You bought the cheapest battery at Walmart, and that battery lasts you, jack. Just doesn't last you for crap, and the warranty's crappy. You're in a circle. You're running around in circles and you're not getting anywhere. But if you're like myself, you've tried this company, this local company, and you know that their product's solid, and you're also going in and expecting, a year less. You're only paying 30%, so you're really not losing anything. You're gaining. Is it worth your time to go through all this? That's what it all comes down to. Is it really worth all this time running these batteries, a year less, saving 30%, you're actually gaining 30%, and that kind of thing. Also, invest in a little bit of equipment. I do not advise people to do this, but don't throw yourself under the bus. Don't put yourself in a pickle where, let's just say, semis, they got 4 batteries. Typically, I take all 4 batteries if the system starts glitching. I take all 4 batteries, throw them to the side, and put 4 fresh batteries in there. And then when my guys have time as well, they'll charge them and then load test them. And it's usually 1 battery, sometimes 2 out of the 4 that are actually bad. So that 1 battery could kill the rest of your batteries, or that 1 battery just didn't have enough time to kill the rest of your batteries, and you still have a decent, 2-3 batteries left. So in that case, what I do, I set them aside. So the bad ones go to the bad pallet, and then the good ones get set aside. Sometimes, we need to use a winch. We'll grab that battery because it's charging, it's holding charge. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a little dirty, and that's it. Who cares? It works. And then another thing is, let's just say a reefer unit comes in. No matter how hard I try, those reefer units just kill batteries. I don't know what the deal with them is. Is the shakiness? Is the beating to death? But usually a battery lasts about 1.5 to 2 on the reefers. If you go blem, if you go most expensive, it doesn't matter what you do, it just kills in 2 years. That's where those batteries come in. They get charged and they get thrown in a reefer. Nice thing about reefer, it's self-diagnostic system. It tells you, all this greatness, and you could easily hit the button and it'll show you the amperage that the alternator has to give out, and you give it a little test and it'll show you got crappy battery or a failing alternator or whatever the case may be. And typically in time you can swap it out. If not, you just throw a jumper cable from the truck to the reefer. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. I got a truck right there. So on the Volvos, let me fix this camera. On the Volvos, the batteries are in the doorsteps, footsteps. Sorry, guys. So if you go, let me show you, boys. So that thing right there, that thing, those handle, you got that handle, and then you have that handle. You pop them open, and this whole thing comes out, and then what the frick am I? Let me just show you, boys. Just for the curious ones that never seen these things, this thing is filthy. Needs to. So you got your batteries there, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. You'd literally throw a jumper from here. What the heck happened here? Good thing my guys are gonna be inspecting this unit. Then there's once you open those, pop those doors open, there's gonna be a battery on the other side right here on this corner. That's all, And on a heavy duty jumper set, it could reach it. It's usually, it's an easy start. Now, if you had to jump start your truck from the reefer, you got to have a lot of patience, my friend. So that's the short gist of it, man. Tires going good. So yeah, that's what happens, and it's just those, for example, like battery chargers, they're cheap, and those load testers, they're cheap too. It'll show you right there. Once you hook up your your load tester, it'll show you the voltage on that battery. I don't know if I mentioned how I check my batteries, good or bad. I put a load on them, and that thing shows you, when you just hook them up to when you put the load on them, what's your cold cranking, is it good, is it bad, that kind of thing. And it's nice. Also, good thing I said cold cranking. Also, guys, don't cheap out your engine with cold cranking amps. I don't know how else to phrase it for you. Like Cummins, they need that. They need that. They need them high cranking amps. Like other engines might not need them as much. And I know I'm shooting in the dark here. What I mean by dark, my guess would be an engine with less compression. But let's just leave that alone. You need good cold cranking amp batteries. You could buy nice batteries, but if they're low on cold cranking amps, you're gonna have an issue, my friend. You're gonna suffer, and you're gonna be like, man, I got these weak batteries that barely turn my engine over. Yaddy. No, dude, just go for it. Buy yourself solid batteries, and you'll be happy. Anyways, boys, that's the end of it. That's about it. And now that I'm at the yard, I gotta take care of some stuff and keep doing what I'm doing. As always, may the Lord bless you. May you all mighty fine day, and I will get you in the next one. By the way, I'm gonna do a video. What the heck happened to my tire? This is annoying. What the heckers happened to my tire reviewing videos? What I mean by that, I had a stack of tires I was telling you I was gonna review, and I never did. I'll give you a little sneak peek. My guys moved those tires around, restacked them, and I couldn't get exact mileage. I don't want a ballpark mileage. What I am gonna do, I'll still go through all those tires, and as far as memory serves me, with my guys' help, I'll tell you roughly how much we got out of each tire. And knock on wood, hopefully this time around, after winter, all my trucks are gonna pretty much have worn out tires sometime in the spring. And we'll just literally put all the mileage that that tire got, and you know what kind of, roughly on average, what kind of performance should I say. You know, some of my pickups, they got a little bit of a lead foot driver. Others have CDL drivers, so those tires get, you know, loaded to the max. Other tires only get loaded halfway. It just depends how things went down. And what I mean by that, just, I mean, there's sometimes one guy's doing nearly the same load back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And it's usually something urgent, and it's something light. So obviously those tires are going to get a lot better mileage out of them. The truck's going to get better gas mileage. So I'm going to share all that in another video. Anyways, guys, God bless you. Mighty fine day. As always, ciao, bye.